Check test. Good morning, respected dignitaries, eminent resource persons, teachers, participants, and my fellow friends. A warm and hearty welcome to you all. Good morning, respected dignitaries, eminent resource persons, teachers, participants, and my fellow friends. A warm and hearty welcome to all for this short-term certificate course on healing with fermented foods, organized by the Micro Incube Cell, Department of Microbiology of Government College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Kandola, and sponsored by the Directorate of Higher Education, Government of Goa. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce you to the convener of the event, Dr. Dilecta DeCosta, Head of Department of Microbiology, the PG and PhD Coordinator of the Microbiology Department of our college, and to the event coordinator, Dr. Aureen Gomes, Assistant Professor of the Microbiology Department. I, Chrisanne Braganza, and my colleagues, Mr. Nigel Fernandez and Ms. Blicia Fernandez, will be your host for today. Eating well is a form of self-respect. A healthy outside first begins from the inside, quotes Robert Urich. Fermented foods have been part of the human diet for centuries. Fermentation, it simply involves the process of converting your carbohydrates to organic acids and alcohols using microorganisms. So while heating a vegetable could deplete it of its nutrients, on the other hand, we have fermentation that retains the vitamins and produces probiotic bacteria. Thus, David Wallace quotes fermentation to be a better invention than fire. Fermentation is simple, yet powerful. Powerful in its ability to heal. Fermented foods contain those healthy bacteria that can take your health to the next level. So today, let's all get geared up to be part of an informative 5-day course, which will not only tell us about the wonders and fascinating facts that fermented foods can do to our bodies, but our very versatile resource persons will also give us a hands-on training experience on how to prepare the different fermented foods and also to give us an idea on how to commercialize the same. This is a kind request going out to everyone to kindly switch off your mobile phones to avoid any kind of disturbance during the session. Before we begin with the course, let us get to know a little more about the role of fermented foods and how they play an important part in improving our health through a small video put up by the students of MSc Microbiology Part 2. The credits of this concept go to Chandan Gaunikar, along with our actors Ms. Simran Naik, Ms. Saloni Vadekar, Ms. Gandita Madgaonkar, Mr. Chandan Gaunikar. The videography and editing done by Mr. Nigel Suarez, and the director of this short film, Ms. Saisha Gaudi. Please put your hands together for them.
fast.
We should try index half.
हाँ बोलो मैडम जी, क्या हुआ?
घर में कोई है?
हाँ मैडम जी है।
आप जरा उन्हें बुलाएंगे?
क्या काम था आपको?
हम उन्हें हमारे इस प्रोडक्ट के बारे में कुछ बताना चाहते थे।
आप सेल्समैन हो? नो नो नो, वी आर बायो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स। हाँ तो रुको रुको, मैडम जी को बुलाता हूँ। हाँ मैडम जी।
कौन है इसमें जो कोई सेल्समैन तो प्लीज बता दो।
नहीं वो कोई बायो बायो बोल रहा है, मुझे कुछ नहीं पता। आप आओ।
कौन बायो?
आप आओ।
Yes. Good morning, ma'am. My name is Sindhu.
And myself Saroni. We are from XYZ Bio Innovation Center and this is a product called as Fermented.
It is based on the fermentation process. I'm not able.
Just hear us out for a minute.
Okay, be quick. So, ferment food is based on the process called fermentation. Fermentation? What is that? Okay, so let me tell you what fermentation is. So basically, we are introducing our desired microorganisms into the raw products to get a desired final product which has no nutritional value and
It is beneficial to your own health.
microorganisms and beneficial? Yes, so let me tell you in detail. Fermentation is a process with natural bacteria and yeast which breaks down the sugar and starch in the food producing lactic acid and other compounds. Fermenting is a technique to preserve foods. However, nowadays fermented foods is getting a lot of attention because of the benefits it provides.
Firstly, as the fermented food is pre-digested or broken down by bacteria, these foods are easier for us to digest. Secondly, fermentation increases the nutritional value by producing beneficial enzymes and vitamins. Thirdly, as microorganisms break down lactose present in the food, lactose intolerant people can eat yogurt and other fermented milk products. Lastly, fermented foods contain probiotics, which are good or friendly bacteria. They improve our gut health, thus leading to a healthy immune system.
We developed a final product called Fermented. Oh wow, this is such a wonderful product and I would love to buy this product. How much should I pay? Just 250 rupees, ma'am. Okay. जी में चलेगा? चलेगा.
That was indeed a power-packed performance by the Part 2 students. I'm sure we all got to learn a lot more through this act. Today, we are privileged to have amidst us very vibrant and energetic guest. I would like to invite the chief guest and the resource persons along with other dignitaries to join us on the dais. Requesting Dr. Dilecta De Costa, the convener of today's event, to escort the distinguished dignitaries to the dais. Thank you, ma'am. We feel grateful to have the presence of our dynamic principal for this inaugural function. She has always been very motivating and supportive in organizing various events. I would now like to request our principal, Professor Purnakala Samant, to welcome the gathering.
A warm good morning to one and all. We are starting with a 5-day, I can say, a skill-based course on healing with fermented foods, starting from today till 9th. So all these 5 days you are going to learn, how to make fermented food. At these junctures, I welcome our chief guest of today's function, Madam Lisa Norton, HOD of Food Production, IHM Porvorim, Mr. Conrad Braganza, entrepreneur, our own student, Anubhuti, and Keith Miranda, he's a faculty from IIHM who is going to join us soon. Observer from Director of Higher Education, Kaustup, all my faculty members and my dear student. It's really a pleasure for me for today's this inaugural function to welcome you all. In the sense that this 5 days training program will really going to give you, meaning you could be a entrepreneur, and we should thank Director of Higher Education for financing this 5-day event. The objective is to you to make entrepreneur. We all know that in 5 days you will learn, but you have to put your own efforts 50 days at your home. And perhaps that is going to be meaning after 3 months, if you start from today and you are in part 1 or part 2, in 3 months, somewhere in April, May, you should be an entrepreneur. And this is the key idea of director, that you should be self-sufficient. This is incubation cell, named as a bio-incubation cell in our college, but it is an incubation cell that NAC also demands that a college should have an incubation cell, so that through that student learn and after some time they earn. So we wish that this very, you see, and I was very amazed to see that carrot and then so many tomatoes and French beans are being kept. Okay, and this, I also remember that in our olden days, lemon pickles kartale, kiwa mangoes, and we all used to do all these fermentations. घरात तर ताक आणि दही तर आसपाकच जाय till now also, but we never were knowing it is the medicinal values and all in that. It is ritual type or culture that we used to maintain. But through this program, perhaps we will know, the technology which is involved in it, a large scale how you can make it, and you can self-sufficient. Don't go for the job here and there. Microbiology student, yet chemistry student, yet any other student for that matter can set your own entrepreneur at home only without having too much of money. Small money, but you can get enriched with the money. Okay, so that if you can sell, I think you could be a great entrepreneur after 3 to 4 months, simultaneously studying your PG course and be an entrepreneur, be self-sufficient, you should have financially you should be self-sufficient at the age of this 21, 22, and then you can proceed for your higher studies also. You can do PhDs, you can do research in this area. Vast this thing, horizon is rare for you to touch any topics in this food and fermented foods. Okay, so I wish you the grand success for this, and I am thankful to Dr. Orin who made her presentation to director, and we can get a handful of money to required for these 5 days. Thanks to Dr. Dilecta for holding this type of events, and always pushing the student, motivating the students for the best of their capacity. I should also announce that Microbiology Society of India had just yesterday put her as a best teacher award from Goa unit. So we should compliment her that she is a best teacher award for Goa unit, and she will be conferred this award at a conference in Nagpur somewhere in 23rd or 24th of January 2023. So this is a very golden opportunity. So for all of us to wish her all creditability, incredibility, because of her dedicated service to the students basically. okay, ground to the earth personality who is working for the student, always motivating the student for the best of their ability, and that is where the college stands. That is where a role of a teacher stands for. Okay, so we wish her very good, more awards for her in her life, and a successful, yet another successful event for our students. I wish our chief guest is going to put insights, the small film that they have put up. That itself is a creativity. People learns by this, small type of animations and all. Young students are being attracted by that. So perhaps the idea and key function has been put up, in the seed of that has been planted in your heart. Now it's only the hands has to work, the mind has to work for next 5 days to have these beautiful functions going on. Madam, I'm thankful for your presence today, and we are really from Department of Microbiology and Government College Kandola blissfully welcomes you for this floor of Government College Kandola. Keith also, and people who are going to listen to it, I wish you a very happy and fruitful day ahead. Okay, all the best.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. I now request Dr. Dilecta da Costa to introduce our honorable chief guest for today, Mrs. Lisa Norton-Dias, Head of Department of Food Production, Institute of Hotel Management, Catering Technology and Applied Nutrition, Alto Porvaram.
Good morning, everybody. To eat is a necessity, but to eat intelligently is an art. Good morning, everyone. As convener of this event, I extend a warm welcome to the dignitaries on the dais, the DHE observer, dear participants, my principal and my beloved students. As you all know, the title of the workshop, Healing with Fermented Foods. Who requires healing? Somebody who's unhealthy, somebody who's sick. With the type of the junk food that we eat, work pressure, stress, sedentary lifestyles, eating at odd times, fast foods, shawarma, pani puris, all the fast foods. I don't need to name them. Our MSCs are well versed with that. Yeah, so we have put ourselves in bad shape, pun intended. I hope you understand that. In such a scenario, the coordinator of the program, Dr. Aureen Gomes, my faculty, and who is my faculty in the department, and myself, we came up with this concept of bringing out awareness on this alimentative properties of fermented foods. And of course, we were backed by a very dynamic, motivating lady who's sitting here just close to me, our principal, and with a lot of help from my other faculties of my department, and loads of help and motivation and enthusiasm from my MSc Part 2 students. I think they need a clap at this moment. So the title is so apt because fermented foods are actually synonymous with good health. They provide us a blend of those nutritionally dense with more vitamins and minerals, increases the shelf life of food, it makes the food more digestible, improves gut health, enhances and regulates immunity, because always immunity, we need immunity, but sometimes immunity over exaggerates itself, and that's the time fermented foods helps to keep the immune system little bit on a hold, right? So all this is done by fermented foods. Fermentation, also called zymosis, makes everything better. According to an Irish proverb, laughter is brightest where food is best. We have experts with us during this course, not only to facilitate your understanding about fermented foods, but also to train you all into becoming the most sought after bio-entrepreneurs. So all the best to all the participants. On that note, it is my privilege to introduce to you the chief guest for this inaugural function, Mrs. Lisa Norton-Dias, who is the head of Department of Food Production at Institute of Hotel Management, Porvorim. She completed her degree in Hotel Management from IHM Goa. Then she went on to do her course in Tourism Management. Further, she completed her Master's Management Development Program from L'École Hôtelière, Lausanne, Switzerland. Madam Madam Lisa Norton has more than 30 years of teaching experience, training young girls and boys to be successful in their culinary profession. In addition to being a good teacher, she has specialized in Goan and Portuguese cuisine. Friends, please welcome Mrs. Lisa Norton-Dias, the one who turns food into happiness.
Thank you, ma'am. As a token of our gratitude, I would now like to call upon Ms. Divya Farte to present a potted plant to Mrs. Lisa Dias. Thank you, Divya. I now request Dr. Sushma Desai, Assistant Professor of the Microbiology Department, to introduce our first resource person, Mr. Conrad Braganza, bio-entrepreneur and founder of Kombucha by Conrad and Company.
Thank you, Blicia. A very good morning to one and all present here. I'm delighted to introduce today's resource person, a dynamic, passionate, creative young entrepreneur. He's also working as a blender and in-house mixologist for over 10 years at Agave Industries India Private Limited, the manufacturers, marketers and sellers of Desmond G. Before this, he worked at Goa Marriott Resort as a trainee and as a service personnel for over 100 outdoor catering events. He graduated in Hospitality and Hotel Management in the first division from the National Council of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, India. Before I say anything more, can I ask you just a quick question? Can you all tell me what is the important event that occurred in the year 2019? A very quick response. Yes. Can you be a little louder? COVID-19. Yes, right? COVID-19, the pandemic, it was a time when most of us were filled with anxiety, distress, and uncertainty. The world was undergoing drastic changes and the government was making multiple policies to cope with disaster. We all were struggling to adjust to the new normal. And in this situation, our resource person was busy brewing his ideas towards his brand. His love towards brewing and fermenting led him to launch a brand called as Kombucha. Under this brand, he manufactures, sells and markets different flavors of kombucha drink. Those who all don't know, kombucha is a fermented tea drink. He also initiated Community Butch. Please forgive me if I mispronounce it. Now, what is Community Butch? What is kombucha drink? To answer all these questions, okay, and also to hear about his amazing journey and his valuable experience, the glimpse you will get during the session post the inauguration session. Dear students, I request you with a round applause, please welcome Mr. Conrad Braganza. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I now call upon Ms. Saloni Wadikar to present a potted plant to Mr. Conrad Braganza. Thank you, Saloni. I now request Dr. Sapna Gaitonde, Assistant Professor of the Department of Microbiology, to introduce our second resource person, Ms. Anubhuti Arundekar, Bio-Entrepreneur and Assistant Professor at PES College of Arts and Science, Pharmagudi.
Good morning, everyone. I take great pride in introducing our resource person, Ms. Anubhuti Arondekar, who happens to be our ex-student. She has completed her graduation in 2019 at St. Xavier's College, Mapsa, followed by post-graduation in 2021 at our college, that is Government College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Khandola. Anubhuti has done her internship at the Department of Pathology and Transfusion Medicine of District Hospital at Mapsa. She has attended workshops and has participated in certificate courses at different colleges in Goa and Pune on various themes like gene sequence analysis, techniques in molecular biology, wastewater treatment, etc. She has served as a resource person for bioentrepreneurship and as a course instructor in winemaking, which was organized by our department at Khandola College. During the academic year 2020-2021, she was awarded as the best student of Department of Microbiology PG section at Government College, Khandola. Currently, she is an assistant professor at PS College of Arts and Science, Pharmagudi. We welcome you back, Anubhuti, sorry.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to call upon Ms. Ayusha Ramnatkar to present a potted plant to Ms. Anubhuti Arundekar. Thank you, Ayusha. I now request Dr. Michelle Fernandez, Assistant Professor of the Department of Microbiology, to introduce our third resource person of the workshop, Mr. Keith Miranda, Assistant Professor at the International Institute of Hotel Management, Nouveau.
Good morning, respected principal, dignitaries on the dais, my dear colleagues, students, and all the participants. I have been given the honor of introducing our guest speaker for the short-term certificate course on healing with fermented foods. I feel elated to introduce Mr. Keith Miranda, one of the resource person who will be teaching us on techniques on fermenting vegetables. Mr. Miranda completed his graduation in hospitality from the Institute of Advanced Management in Nouveau, Goa in the year 2009. He completed his training at 5-star hotels like the Leela and Kenilworth Beach and Spa Resort, Goa. Subsequently, he worked as a front office associate at the Baywatch Beach Resort for a year, followed by as a front office assistant manager at Grand Hyatt Goa for almost 8 years. Thereafter, he worked as a manager in administration and customer relation for a year at Vinara Homes Private Limited, where he managed and handled several responsibilities. Coupled with an impressive background, Mr. Miranda started his teaching career as a lecturer at Parvati Bai Chogles College in Margao. Currently, he is working as an assistant professor in the International Institute of Hotel Management, Nouveau. We are indeed delighted to be associated with this rather young but immensely knowledgeable and experienced personality.
Unfortunately, he couldn't make it for the inaugural ceremony. He will come later. Thank you, ma'am. I would now like to call upon Ms. Piknika Gadi to present a potted plant to our principal, Professor Purnakala Samant. Thank you, Piknika. Today we also have amongst us our special guest, Dr. Kaustubh Kamath, Assistant Director, at the Directorate of Higher Education, Government of Goa. We welcome you, sir, to this program. Requesting Ms. Natasha Gavas to present a potted plant to Mr. Kaustubh Kamath. Thank you, Natasha. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. I invite our principal, Professor Purnakala Samant, along with our esteemed chief guest and all the dignitaries on the days, to now inaugurate the short-term certificate course, Healing with Fermented Foods. We have now declared the short-term certificate course open.
I now request Dr. Aureen Gomes, Assistant Professor of the Department of Microbiology, to kindly brief the audience about the schedule of the program planned for the five-day short-term certificate course.
A warm welcome to all the participants to this short-term certificate course on healing with fermented foods. The schedule of the short-term certificate course for the coming 5 days is as follows. Today, the day 1, that is the 5th of December. After the inauguration, we will have the first session by our resource person, Mr. Conrad Berganza. So he will be, in the first part, he will be delivering a talk on kombucha, followed by a step-by-step hands-on training to prepare kombucha. Post-lunch, the participants will be shown, or they will be preparing the kombucha by themselves under the able guidance of the resource person. On day 2, that is 6th December, the resource person is Ms. Anubhuti Arondekar. She will be again delivering a lecture on vinification, followed by a step-by-step hands-on training on preparing wines. And post-lunch, the participants will get a chance to prepare the wines under her able guidance. On 7th December, the third resource person, Mr. Keith Miranda, will be demonstrating the art of preparing fermented vegetables. So he will be also delivering a lecture followed by a step-by-step hands-on training to prepare fermented vegetables. Post-lunch, the participants will be preparing fermented vegetables themselves. On 8th December, we have planned to take the participants for a field trip to 2 incubation centers in Goa. The first one is Gcasck Bionest Incubator, which is under BITS Goa Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship Society at the BITS Pirani Goa campus. The aim behind taking the participants to this incubation center is to make them aware of the facilities which are available here. The Bionest Incube Center helps entrepreneurs to incubate and accelerate their innovative early stage startups into successful ventures through infrastructural support, mentoring, networking, and business advisory. So in the morning session on 8th December, we will be visiting Gcasck Bionest, and in the afternoon session, we will be proceeding further to the Goa State Innovation Council at Don Bosco Engineering College, Fatolda. They have a well-equipped prototyping laboratory there, so you will get an exposure, all the participants will get an exposure of the schemes that are available for different innovations. On day 5, which is the 9th of December, there will be a session. I will be delivering that session on fermentation microbiology, followed by practicals. After that, there will be a short quiz. So I request all the participants to be attentive during all the sessions of the resource persons. The resource persons themselves will give us a quiz, and then you will answer that quiz. And post lunch, we will have the valedictory session followed by the distribution of certificates. I urge all the participants to take opportunity of this, to take part in this short-term certificate course with a lot of enthusiasm, and there should be a lot of interaction between you and the resource person. So these resource persons are that we have chosen for this short-term certificate course are experts in their own field. So I think you will benefit a lot if you could ask them questions and get your doubts cleared, so that when you try out that product at home, to prepare that product at home, it should be very clear to you. If there's anything that you want to ask, any troubleshooting, you could always be in touch with them, and they would, I think, gladly help you. So please make the most of it in this coming 5 days, and all the best to you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I would now like to invite the chief guest for today's function, Mrs. Lisa Norton-Dias, to address the gathering.
Respected members on the dais, resource persons, and the short-term course students and the professors at the college. It is definitely my pleasure and honor to visit your college. I am very much impressed that this college is conducting a hands-on training to prepare fermented foods. My congratulations to the Microbiology Incube Cell, Department of Microbiology, the Gcasck, and the Directorate of Higher Education for promoting this topic, healing with fermented foods. Actually, it is the topic of today and tomorrow. So, the pandemic resulted in so much talk about immunity, and that the reason they said was that if you do not have a good, strong gut, you cannot fight a disease. So, a lot of question came about gut health. So, everybody knows this gut health, but nobody really knows how to go about getting the gut health, because the doctors themselves are not too sure, because they don't really pay a lot of attention on the food that we eat and the food that can heal you. And one of the foods that can heal you, definitely I am very convinced that it is fermented foods. And Conrad is also a student of IHM Goa, and I've actually had the privilege of tasting some of the kombuchas he has made, and it's a very grand, wise decision that to go into fermented foods. I come from the IHM Goa, and food is our forte. But what we do is, when we cook food, we do not really pay much attention to making it healthy. We do when we talk about using the methods of production as well as the methods of cooling it and stuff like that. But what is our main forte is that we make it edible, we make it tasty, we put a lot of creativity in it, and we are lagging in this one aspect of making it healthy to be edible. Okay, it is edible, it is nice, but it will not heal your gut. Understand? So learning to make kombucha, winemaking, and fermenting vegetables are a part of our Goan heritage. I remember as a little girl looking in awe at my grandparents, who whenever there was an abundance of food, they would always, if there was, I remember we had love apples or rose apples, they always made that wine, love apple wine, and if there was ginger, they made ginger wine. And it was an intricate process, but they made it so simple. Fermenting vegetables was also done in Goa with all the pickles and stuff that we made. Somehow along the way, they got lost, and in the end, they got forgotten and they were left behind. And this happened, I think, with the introduction of all these innovations and fast food and all these companies coming in, that we forgot our own heritage and we forgot the rich history and the rich resource that we have here with us. So I'm extremely glad that you dear students have come forward to learn this technique, and I hope you will pass it on to future generations as well as use it in your desired projects. Besides having many health benefits, they are also great hobbies to inculcate and also great businesses to entrepreneur or start your careers. Wishing you all the very best in your future endeavors, and thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. As a token of our love and appreciation, I request our principal, Professor Purnakala Samant, to present a memento to our chief guest for today, Mrs. Lisa Norton-Dias. Can we have a round of applause? This is a special hamper prepared by our department containing all fermented foods, drinks for you specially, ma'am. It is said in ordinary life we hardly realize that we receive a great deal more than what we give, and that it is only with gratitude that life becomes rich. I request Ms. Joanna Gonsalves, Assistant Professor of the Department of Microbiology, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the organizing committee, I now propose the vote of thanks for this function. I express heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest, Mrs. Lisa Norton-Dias, for gracing this occasion with her presence. A special thanks to our resource person, Mr. Conrad Braganza, Ms. Anubhuti Arondekar, and Mr. Keith Miranda, experts in their own fields, for readily agreeing to share their expertise in preparing fermented foods. This short-term certificate course wouldn't have been possible without the blessing of the Almighty God and the support of many people. I would first like to thank the director, Mr. Prasad Lolekar, Director of Higher Education, for sponsoring this session. My sincere gratitude to Professor Mridula Goyal, in charge of the BITS Birak Bionest Incubation Center, and Mr. Sudeep Faldesai, Officer of Goa State Innovation Center, Don Bosco Engineering College, Fatoda, for permitting the participants for a visit to the center on 8th December. I thank the principal of this college, Professor Purnakala Samant, for providing us the infrastructure and facilities to hold this conference. I also thank the convener of this event, Dr. Dilecta DeCosta, the coordinator, Dr. Aureen Gomes, and all the faculty members of the organizing team for their untiring efforts. I deeply appreciate all the work done by MSc Part 2 microbiology students in organizing this event. I also thank the Assistant Director of DHE, Dr. Kaustubh Kamath, the DHE observer for today's function. And once again, I thank all the participants, students and staff from St. Xavier's College, various streams of our college, and everyone present here for being a part of the short-term certificate course. Thank you all once again. May you have a fruitful day ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. And with this, we end with the inaugural function. We shall now break for high tea, requesting everyone to kindly stay back. We shall all assemble in the micro lab at 11:30 for the first session by Mr. Conrad Braganza. Our very own volunteer, Mrs. Tejal Asgaonkar, will guide you all for the same. Before we move out of the hall, some instructions. If there's any one of you who needs to use the washrooms are towards the right of the seminar hall. If anyone has any difficulties or needs any help, please feel free to contact the volunteers. I would request everybody to kindly gather around for a group photograph right in front.
Call them. Call. Please.
Where should we go next?
We should try in that house.
हाँ बोलो मैडम जी, क्या हुआ?
घर में कोई है?
हाँ मैडम जी है।
आप जरा उन्हें बुलाएंगे?
क्यों? क्या काम था आपको?
हम उन्हें हमारे इस प्रोडक्ट के बारे में कुछ बताना चाहते हैं।
तो आप सेल्समैन हो?
No, we are bio entrepreneurs.
हाँ तो रुको, मैडम जी को बुलाता हूँ। हाँ मैडम जी।
कौन है चंदू? कोई सेल्समैन तो प्लीज भगा दो उन्हें।
नहीं वो कोई बायो बोल रहा है, मुझे कुछ नहीं पता। आप आओ।
कौन बायो?
आप आओ।
Yes. Good morning, ma'am. My name is Sindhu.
And myself Saroni. We are from XYZ Bio Innovation Center, and this is a product called as Fermented.
It is based on the fermentation process. I'm not it.
Just hear us out for a minute.
Okay, be quick. So Fermented is based on the process called fermentation. Fermentation? What is that? Okay, so let me tell you what fermentation is. So basically, we are introducing our desired microorganisms into the raw products to get a desired final product which has more nutritional value and
it is beneficial to your own health.
Microorganisms and beneficial? Yes, so let me tell you in detail. Fermentation is a process with natural bacteria and yeast which breaks down the sugar and starch in the food producing lactic acid and other compounds. Fermenting is a technique to preserve foods. However, nowadays fermented foods is getting a lot of attention because of the benefits it provides.
Firstly, as the fermented food is pre-digested or broken down by bacteria, these foods are easier for us to digest. Secondly, fermentation increases the nutritional value by producing beneficial enzymes and vitamins. Thirdly, as microorganisms break down lactose present in the food, lactose intolerant people can eat yogurt and other fermented milk products. Lastly, fermented foods contain probiotics, which are good or friendly bacteria. They improve our gut health, thus leading to a healthy immune system.
Now we developed our final product called Fermented. Oh, wow, this is such a wonderful product and I would love to buy this product. How much should I pay? Just 250 rupees, ma'am. GP चलेगा? चलेगा.